too much. Right? But here it's saying, if you understand the constitutional position of the soul in relationship to Krishna, it's so nice that it can lift one from the struggle for existence, which goes on in the ocean of ignorance. So, what is the struggle for existence? Yes, Krishna.
The struggle.
Is it
No. The struggle for existence is like people want to live in joy and like do nonsense and stuff.
Well, partially right. Struggle for existence means people are trying to control nature.
Oh, right.
So they can be the enjoyer. They want to be Krishna, right? What happens when you try and control nature?
Jeff Bezos happens.
No, you get controlled by nature. You get entangled. Can you control nature?
No.
Who does it belong to?
Krishna.
So you're being a thief. You're trying to control something that doesn't belong to you. So you're a thief. It belongs to someone else. So what happens? You get entangled by the laws of karma. And that's why it's a struggle. If you don't try and control nature, but you use nature in the service of Krishna, then you're not struggling anymore. Now, if you try and explain that to your friends, they wouldn't understand because they're being taught to control nature, right? So what you said is actually correct. They all want to be like Jeff Bezos, controlling large amounts of money and having so much power, right? But what happens is, when you try and do that, you start struggling because you're trying to do something. Can you swim across the ocean?
No.
Even if you're the best swimmer, can you swim across the ocean? No, it would be a constant struggle. Can you walk through the Everglades? Well, you could try, but it's very dangerous. It would be a constant struggle. You'd always have to be watching out for the alligators and the snakes and different things, you know. It's dangerous. Okay. So, if you understand what the struggle for existence in the ocean of ignorance means, then now you can understand that this is all unnecessary. It's only due to ignorance. What is ignorance? Let's talk about that. What is ignorance? Agastya, what is ignorance? Huh? It's a mode of material nature. Okay, but what is it? Do we have a microphone, bro? Where is it? This is it? Okay, here. What is ignorance?
Like you're deliberately like avoiding something.
It's something like that, but it's like, let's say your younger brother, right? He's sitting right here, right? What is your name? Aditya. Advitya, okay. Let's say Advitya is trying to put his finger into the electric socket. Right? What would happen?
He would get shocked.
Yeah, let's say he can't get his finger in, so he gets some piece of metal and puts it in there to touch it, right? What would happen to him?
He would get shocked.
He would get shocked, right? Now, he thinks, out of ignorance, that nothing will happen if he does it. That's called ignorance, you see. Or let's say Vidya, right? Avidya? Let's say Avidya was playing with matches in the house, trying to set the house on fire. Now, he thinks that it's fun playing with matches, right, Avidya? Is it fun? No, it's dangerous, right? But if you think it's fun, that's called ignorance. Because it's very dangerous. Right? So, ignorance means something is very dangerous, but you think it's fun. Like, how about smoking a cigarette? right? Now, some of your friends might say when you get a little older, oh, it's so cool to smoke a cigarette. And they say, you know, if you don't smoke a cigarette, then you're not cool. So you think, oh, if I want to be cool, I should smoke a cigarette. That's ignorance. It's actually bad for you. But they're convincing you that it's good, and because you have no knowledge, you think it's good also, and you start smoking a cigarette. Yes?
In our school,
Yes?
people started,
Wait a minute, take the microphone.
what's it called?
In your school, people started, I mean, the dummies. Go ahead.
In our school, people started vaping at
What?
Kids start vaping
Oh, vaping, yeah.
at 7th grade.
So they have their the VAP, right?
Yeah, they have a thing, and then they go to the bathroom and do it. And I had a friend, I didn't know she vaped, so, and then one day she told me I started vaping, and I was like, oh, why? And she was like, my dad died, and these days I'm really depressed, so that's like the only thing that makes me feel better. So I just have to do it right now. So I was
Well,
like,
okay, no, well, the question is, what is she vaping? Is it just a liquid that doesn't have caffeine in it? Or is it a liquid that has marijuana in it? Or is it a liquid that just, you know, has perfume in it?
It's like the pen you vape.
Yeah.
No, I know what it is, but what is the liquid in it? That's
I
the,
didn't ask her that.
What?
I didn't ask her that.
yeah, well, you should find out. Because they'll give you a liquid that's just perfumed, but that perfume is an artificial essential oil. It's very bad for you. It's even worse than smoking a cigarette because you get all those chemicals in your lungs. Or it's a liquid with that perfume and nicotine. Or it's a liquid with the perfume, nicotine, and marijuana. That's called, you know, supersizing. You see. So she says it's the only thing that makes her feel good? Yeah. Okay, so there probably is a little bit of marijuana in the liquid. Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing about ignorance,
Yes.
Prabhupada said there was an ad, they used to have billboards.
Give him the microphone. Give him the microphone.
There used to be, is it on?
If it's green, yes. If you push the button and it's green, it's on. Yeah.
Now it's on.
Yeah.
Yes, and there used to be billboards. At one time, there used to be billboards, big billboards,
Advertising.
advertising different products, and they advertised cigarettes. And there was one ad advertising a brand of cigarettes called Cool.
Yes.
They would have a young man or a young woman with the cigarette smoking. Prabhupada saw, he says, "What is this nonsense? How can it be cool where there's fire? Because when you're smoking a cigarette, there's fire at the end of it." He said, "How can there be cool when there's fire?"
Yeah, it's ignorance.
So that's ignorance. You think it's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, the way they give you the sensation of cooling is they put peppermint in it. So when you smoke it, although it's hot, you get the feeling that it's cool, but actually it's burning you. Yeah, it's ignorance. Yeah, so you think that something is good, but it actually is very bad. Just like, you know, sticking a metal like a pin into the electric plug, thinking, you know, this is going to be fun. Also, you get, you know, or thinking, you know, if I smoke, it'll be cool. Is it?
Plastic small thing in the ear.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You stick the plastic in the ear to clean your ear, you know, and then you injure your eardrum, and you can't hear properly the rest of your life. So all these things are ignorance, you see. So a very good example. That was a good example of your friend. So her father died. Is that it?
Yeah.
Wow. How did he die? He had an accident?
Cancer.
Huh?
Cancer.
Cancer. You know how many years they've been collecting money to solve the problem of cancer? You know how many years? Over 70 years, right? Now, let me tell you something about, when people collect money to stop AIDS or to stop cancer, or so, it never stops. You know why? Because if it stops, they can't collect the money anymore. So they don't really want it to stop. They just want to keep collecting money and keep doing the experimentation. Yes?
They say cancer research for like 70 years now. Like, why doesn't the government even notice?
No,
Cancer.
You have to understand, you don't make money if you solve a problem. You only make money if you perpetuate the problem.
Oh,
You know what perpetuate means?
like stage.
Make it, yes.
Like make it longer.
Yes. Now, if they actually found the cure for cancer, they know what the cure for cancer is, right? But if they actually found the cure for cancer, then they wouldn't be able to collect any more money to cure cancer. So they don't really want to cure cancer. Just like homelessness. You know how much money they're spending on homelessness in Seattle and King County? Minimum $200 million a year. Minimum. You know how much money that is? $200 million? It's a huge amount of money, right? And what has happened to homelessness? It's increased. It didn't decrease, it increased. Now, why does it increase even though it collects so much money? Yes?
They don't give the money, they keep the money for themselves.
Well, they don't really want to solve the problem. If you solve the problem, then they can't collect the money anymore. People won't increase their taxes, and so forth. You see. So many of these problems, just like the United Nations was started to stop all wars in the world. Have the wars stopped?
No, not at all.
No. Why?
Because they don't do anything about it. They want more money.
No, they pretend to do things, but it doesn't really solve the problem. The wars haven't stopped. In fact, they're continually going on all the time. You see. So this is the cheating that takes place in Kali Yuga. It's called hypocrisy. What is hypocrisy? Yes.
You tell someone to do something, but then you don't do it.
Yeah, it's like that, yes. Hypocrisy means that people are lying and they're arguing with each other that they're not lying. Right? That's called hypocrisy. In other words, if I tell you, Agastya, don't smoke cigarettes, and the next week you see me walking down the street smoking a cigarette, you see, that would be hypocrisy. I'm telling you not to do something, but I do it myself, right? So that would be hypocrisy. It's actually lying. It's a type of lying, right? Okay. So this verse says that proper understanding of one's constitutional position in relationship to Krishna is so nice that at once it can lift one from the struggle for existence which goes on in the ocean of nescience. So we discussed what is the ocean of nescience, we discussed what is the struggle for existence, we discussed what is the constitutional position of the living entity in relationship to Krishna. So Arush, can you explain what the constitutional position is of the jiva, or the individual soul, in relationship to Krishna? Huh? Yeah, you do know. You're just not thinking. Is the individual living entity, the jiva, is he God? So, what is he in relationship to Krishna? What is he in relationship to Krishna? Okay, so you know the answer. You thought you didn't know the answer. You just answered. He's part and parcel. And what should his activity be? Should he go to Disneyland and watch television and play video games? What should he do?
Devotional service.
Yeah, see, you know the answers. You said, you said, I don't know, but actually you know. You just have to think, right? That's called constitutional position. That is your real position. That is who you are eternally. You're eternally the servant of Krishna. Krishna, who is Krishna?
The Supreme Personality of God.
Okay, let Arusha. Yeah, he's the Supreme Personality of God. And who are you? And?
The eternal servant.
Yes, exactly right. Is it? You know the answers. Okay. One time Socrates, a famous Greek philosopher, he said that all knowledge is not something learned, it's something remembered. And people said, what? If he doesn't learn, how can he know? He said, no, he already knows from previous lifetimes, because the soul is eternal, he said. It's gone through many lifetimes. And he said, I'll prove it to you. So he took some young kid who never went to school, who never studied arithmetic or math, and he asked him a few questions, just like I asked you now, right? You said you didn't know the answer, but actually you did know the answer, right? He asked him a few questions, and he proved to the observers, the guys who said it's not, you know, what you're saying is not true. He showed him that the kid actually understood math, although he had never went to school, never studied it. Why? Because the soul is eternal. Therefore, he said, knowledge is not something learned, it's something remembered. Because we've had so many lifetimes. We've already studied math in previous lifetimes. Okay. So, okay. So next it says, the material world is sometimes regarded as an ocean of nescience. What does nescience mean? Yes, Augustia. Huh? What?
Like ignorance.
Yes, ignorance. It's a big fancy word. Nobody understands it, but it means ignorance. Nescience. N-E-S. See, it's here. Actually, it's ne-science. That's not the way to pronounce it, but it's ne-science is pronounced nescience. It means no science, no knowledge, ignorance. Right? The material world is sometimes regarded as an ocean of nescience and sometimes as a blazing forest. Blazing forest fire, right? Yeah. So, do you know what a blazing forest fire is? It's dangerous, right? You can die. Like recently there was huge fires in California and Canada, and many people died. Many people died. At least 76 people died, but there's still a few hundred people missing, so they're probably dead also. So it says that the spiritual master is receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy, just as a cloud pours water on a forest fire to extinguish it, so the spiritual master delivers the materially afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence. Right? So the spiritual master extinguishes the blazing fire of material existence. So these are all metaphors. Metaphors. In other words, you use some phrase instead of a particular word to describe something. Like this one lady described Prabhupada, she said, he was oceanic. What does that mean? If you call a person oceanic, what does that mean?
Sort of depth.
Yes. Yeah. And so if you say the blazing fire of material existence, that means you're basically comparing material existence to a blazing fire. Now, do you see any fire right now?
No.
But actually there is. Shankaracharya said, my eyes are on fire, My nose is on fire. My tongue is on fire. My skin is on fire. My mind is on fire. Now, is that true?
Yeah.
In what way?
Metaphorically, because like your eyes are fire, you're seeing bad things in the material world.
Yes.
Your mind is fire.
Speak into the microphone.
Your eyes are fire because you're seeing bad things in the material world. Your mind is fire because you think really bad material thoughts, like desires and stuff.
Yes.
Material desires.
Mm-hmm.
And your skin is on fire. I'm not so sure about that. Why?
Because you want sense gratification.
Okay. Yeah.
So you're a friend who is vaporizing, or she has a VAP, right? Why does she have a VAP? Her dad. No, so she's feeling the fire of separation, or she's feeling, sad, right? So this is, you can describe material existence as a blazing fire or an ocean of misery. So Prabhupada says, in the ocean, however expert a swimmer one may be, we are looking at chapter 4, verse 36. You have your Bhagavad Gita? Shivani, you should have your Bhagavad Gita. Get one. We have so many Bhagavad Gitas. Look, they're facing you right there. You did the homework? You did? All right. What's the homework? Tell me. What? Explain how we defeat the argument that we come from monkeys, right? Okay, give him the microphone. Let's see. Let's hear what he said.
Answer: as per Bhagavad Gita 14.4, everything is coming from Krishna, that is, all species of life, including monkeys and human beings. We will compare the two authorities, Krishna and Darwin. Darwin is ugly and smelly.
He's what? He's ugly, yeah, he smells bad. What else?
And dies. Krishna is beautiful, smells good, and lives forever.
Yes. So whose authority is better, Darwin or Krishna? Yeah. So whatever Darwin said is nonsense. We don't come from monkeys. There's no proof that we come from monkeys. What is the proof? Sometimes someone says, we have evidence that human beings come from monkeys. Well, what is the evidence?
Oh, I know.
Yes, Agastya. Go ahead. Oh, God, wait a minute. Agastya's brother. Go ahead. You tell us. Take the microphone. Take the microphone. What's the evidence that we come from God? What do they say is the evidence?
We have the teeth as a monkey.
Teeth that look like the teeth of monkeys, yes.
We have the tailbone.
They have the tail. Human beings have the tailbone. They don't have the tail, but they have the tailbone, yeah. And?
The thumb.
And with a thumb that looks something like the thumb of a monkey. Yeah. Actually, whoever believes that we come from monkeys also has the brain of a monkey. Real limited brain, right? So if you put a monkey in front of a computer and ask it, say, he'll go, and he'll start breaking the computer, right? But if you put a banana in front of the monkey, what will he do?
He'll eat it.
He'll eat it. He understands the banana, but he doesn't understand the computer. Therefore, he's called Banana Nanda. His ecstasy is a banana, whereas your ecstasy might be the computer, which is also Banana Nanda, right? Okay, so now, yes, you did your homework. Okay, go ahead. What did you write?
I just want to see if this is right because I can explain it to my friends too that don't.
Go ahead.
understand.
Hold the microphone closer.
Do we really come from monkeys? If you say we come from monkeys, I prove you wrong. Your theory of we come from monkeys is based on imperfect senses, illusion, the tendency to cheat, and the tendency to commit mistakes and speculation. In Bhagavad Gita 14.4 it says, "It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father." This is pure knowledge given straight by Krishna and the Supreme Personality of Godhead with no defects. This verse translation says that all life has come from Krishna and that he is the seed-giving father. This theory of we come from monkeys is fully speculated and has no actual proof to back this claim up. The way this theory has come to reality is that we have similarities in body structures like bones. That does not mean we came from monkeys. Like, the only proof that scientists have is that we have a body structure, and I'm surprised that we're dumb enough to believe that. So who will you trust, Darwin, Yucky and Smelly, or Krishna?
Well, I don't think you would convince anyone with that argument, but the idea is that Darwin said that he was not going to live long enough to find the fossil evidence. He said that the fossil evidence is there. You dig down into the earth, you'll find fossils of different species, and eventually you'll find the fossil of the species that's half monkey, half man, right? Something like that, you're saying. Well, they've never found the fossil evidence, and it's been 150 years since Darwin kicked the bucket, in other words, died. But yet they hold on to the theory. And by holding on to that theory, what happens? Like, they teach this theory. Now, what a theory is something that's not the truth, but it has a little bit of evidence that you might think it's the truth. There's a little bit of evidence, right? Like the thumb, like the teeth, like the tailbone, right? What?
We don't have tails, though.
Yeah, you got so-called tailbone, but not the tail, right?
Oh.
So this is very circumstantial. It's very, very tenuous evidence. It's not solid evidence, right? Now, it makes sense that we come from Krishna. Krishna has a human form, but his form is different than ours because it's made of Satchitananda. But we are made in the image of God, right? And also, Krishna appears in every species. So it's normal that every species comes from Krishna. Yes?
What is it? What can I do to make it better?
Well, I'm trying to help you right now.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. And the other thing is, knowledge always begins from acceptance of an authority. So if you say your authority is Darwin, and we say our authority is Krishna, then we have a right to compare our authority to your authority. Right? Now, Krishna has spoken the Bhagavad Gita. This book is 5,000 years old. Is there any other book in the world that's 5,000 years old? No. Why is this book still being read 5,000 years after it was written? Why?
Because it's written by accepted authority.
No, because it's still pertinent. Pertinent means it still has importance to our life today. Right? How do we know that? Well, we'll take one verse. Dahayato vishayam pumsa sangat tesu bhajayate sangat sanjayate kama krodha bhajayate krodhat bhavati samhoha samoha spriti vibhrama spriti mamsat buddhinaso buddhinasat pranasyate. This is 2nd chapter, 62nd and 63rd verse. Take a look at it. 2nd chapter, 62nd and 63rd verse. 62nd and 63rd verse. 62 and 63. Okay? Now, okay, Shivani, you read it. What does it say?
While contemplating the objects of sensual senses,
Oh, wait a minute. Give her the microphone, please. Read out loud so everyone can hear.
While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises.
Next. 63.
From anger complete delusion arises, and from delusion bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool.
Now, is there anyone here ready to argue against this, saying that this is nonsense? It's not true. In other words, it's saying by contemplating, by looking at the objects of the senses, like for example, let's say you're looking at a brand new Tesla car, right? By looking at it and thinking, you know, about its qualities and its advantages over other cars, attachment develops. When there's attachment, eventually, by still contemplating and thinking about this is nice, that's nice, you know, my car is not as nice, etc., etc., lust develops. What is lust? Huh? Yes.
Excessive attachment.
It's excessive attachment. In other words, obsessive attachment. In other words, you think, if I don't have that, I'll never be happy. Right? Then from lust, right, anger arises. How is that? Yes. What? Speaking to the mic.
If you don't get what you want,
Yeah.
then you get angry.
Yes. You get angry because I don't have enough money to buy it. Why does the other idiot have one and I don't have one? Why does he have the money and I don't have the money? You get angry, right? And from anger, delusion arises. What is delusion?
You get like deluded from everything else. You're like
No, that's not what it means.
deluded.
Okay. No, delusion is related to illusion. What's the difference between illusion and delusion? Yes, Arush. Give him the microphone. Microphone.
The difference is you act on the illusion when you say delusion.
Yes, you're right. You're
you act
absolutely right.
on the
That's because he's been coming to the classes. You're absolutely. We've explained this many times. Was that what you were going to say? Is that what you were going to say?
I was gonna ask, like, is it illusion with an I or with an E?
I. Yeah. So, delusion means you believe the illusion, the thing that is not really true, and you act on it. So, what happened? A person was looking at the Tesla and thinking about it, and they developed attachment. As their attachment increased, it became lust, excessive attachment, obsessive attachment. What's the difference between excessive and obsessive? Yes.
Excessive is like too much.
Yes. And obsessive is?
Is like you're controlled by it, sort of like.
Yeah, very
you're
good.
in it.
Very good. You're completely controlled by it. You begin to lose your sense of intelligence and discrimination. You get controlled by that thing, right? You're obsessed. In other words, you think, if I don't get that, I'll never be happy. I gotta have it, right? So when it becomes obsessive, and lust is this obsessive attachment and desire, and then when that is frustrated, what happens? Yes? Anger. Now, anger is destructive. Why is it destructive? Like, for example, let me give you an example. Let's say it's Christmas Day, and the little kiddies run down to the Christmas tree. And what's underneath the Christmas tree on Christmas Day? Huh? Presents, right? So one kitty opens up and it's a book about Krishna. And the other kitty opens up its present and it's a remote control car. And he gets the remote control, it goes, zzz, the car goes like this, and it goes, zzz, and it stops, and it goes, zzz, and it goes like this. And the kid that got the book about Krishna, he throws the book down and goes over and tries to take the remote control away from the other kid. And now they get into a fight. And because the other kid is bigger, the little kid can't get the remote control, and he starts crying. And he goes back and throws the book out the window. What is that an example of? Anger and delusion, you see. And it happened like very quickly. It went from observation, attachment, lust, anger, delusion. They start, you know, at first the kid was happy to get this book about Krishna, but when he saw the other kid got the remote control car, he became extremely, you know, he became attached to it, and he threw the book down and ran after to grab the joystick from the other kid. And then they got into the fight because the other kid was bigger. He didn't get it, and he got really angry, and he threw the book out the window. You see. Now, there are other examples of this. There's the example of road rage. What is road rage? Krishna.
You rage on the road,
Yeah, give him the microphone.
traffic crashes, like if someone crashes into you, and then the other person gets mad at you for some apparent reason. Road rage is basically like you screaming at someone else because, like, they're not following the rules correctly, or you're just dumb.
Well, road rage often results in fighting. Sometimes people are killed because of road rage. Not because there's an accident, because they get angry at another person that they don't even know. They've never met the other person. But they get so angry they kill them. They'll take a gun out and shoot the person, or they try and strangle the person, or they get into a fight right in the street. They never even met before. You see? You see how dangerous anger is. Okay, so, and then from anger comes delusion, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. By the way, is anyone disagreeing with this? Would anyone say, this is nonsense, it's not true? Anyone want to say that? You want to say that? No. Now, this was spoken by Krishna 5,000 years ago. Is it still true today? That's why we read Bhagavad Gita today. Every statement in Bhagavad Gita is like that. It's just as true today as it was 5,000 years ago, and it'll be just as true 5,000 years from now. That's why people are still reading Bhagavad Gita. So you compare Darwin's book, Origin of Species, to Bhagavad Gita, and you'll see in a few more years no one will read Darwin's book. They'll say it's nonsense. But they'll still be reading Bhagavad Gita. That's why we should compare Darwin to Krishna and see which one is the bigger authority. This is the strongest argument you can use to defeat these people. He's a greater authority, therefore we accept his authority and not Darwin's authority. Who is Darwin anyway? He smells, he's dead, he got old, he had wrinkles, he was an angry person. Why should we believe anything he wrote? Krishna is always young, he's always beautiful, never grows old, and everything he speaks is true. True in the past, true now, true in the future. So which authority is better? All knowledge begins by acceptance of an authority. So we're being forced in public schools and private schools to accept the authority of imperfect teachers who themselves are confused. How can they teach us anything? They're trying to teach us Darwin's theory of the origin of species when it's completely wrong. Why should we accept it? Everything depends on who you accept as an authority. Okay, so now we'll continue with this, and that is, it says here, you cannot expect all men or all people to understand what is religion and what is not religion. So what is the position of a person or any being who does not know to make the distinction between dharma and adharma? See, intelligence differentiates between what is good and what is bad, what is true and what is not true. The mind doesn't do that. The mind is one of the six senses, one of the senses. It simply receives information and quickly makes a decision, I like it or I don't like it. Just like your friend, Shivani, she made a decision that smoking a vap is good for her. Is it good?
That's what she said.
No, but is it good?
Oh, no.
No, it's not good. It's bad, especially if you get the perfume liquid. It's very bad. You're inhaling into your lungs those chemicals. They're all artificial essential oils. See, so what should go into your lungs?
Fresh air.
Fresh air, right? That's what the lungs are made for, to extract the oxygen from the air, and that keeps you alive. Now, if you start putting in cigarette smoke, vaporized steam, and other things, is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's a bad thing. It's a bad thing. But she thinks it's good. So what is that called? She thinks that a bad thing is good. What is that called? Ignorance. Exactly right. That's ignorance. Just like people think eating meat is good. It gives you protein. Is that true or not true?
Not true.
It's not true. It's not good for you. In fact, most people in America have protein intoxication. What is one symptom of protein intoxication? Yes?
They eat a lot of protein.
Yeah, but what happens when you eat a lot of protein? Well, you might get big muscles, but you also get stomach cancer. Why do you get stomach cancer? Now we're going to have a lesson in medicine. Why do you get stomach cancer? From eating meat. Because your body cannot properly digest it. You see. Like, which body can digest meat properly? Tiger. Tigers are meat eaters, right? How long is the intestinal tract of the tiger compared to the length of the intestinal tract of a human being? The intestinal tract of the human being, that's where the digestion takes place, right? There's the big intestine and the small intestine. If you open up a human being and pull that intestinal tract out, it goes 25 to 28 feet long, like from here past that wall, right? Did you know it's that long?
Yeah.
But it's all compacted like this, right, in your stomach. But the tiger's intestine is very short. What happens if you eat meat and it goes like this until it comes out? What happens? It rots in your stomach. That's why people pass bad air. They have bad breath and they pass bad air. You ever see people in school passing bad air?
Yeah.
Huh? Everyone?
Who eats school lunch, yeah.
Who eats the school lunch? Is there meat in the school lunch?
Obviously, there's nothing else.
Yeah. Do they pass bad air in your class? Yeah. Do you pass bad air? So, you see, it's rotting. Now, when it rots, it gives off something called uric acid. URIC. Uric acid destroys your intestinal tract. That's why people get they get ulcers, and they get what's called anyway, their intestine becomes damaged. forget the name right now. I'll think of it. And then also the uric acid filters into the bloodstream and changes the pH of the blood. Then you get more serious problems, not just digestive problems. Now you get damaged arteries, capillaries, and veins. Damaged arteries, veins, and capillaries. Because of that, you get high blood pressure, and you can get cancer also of the blood. That's why sometimes little kids get cancer. So we'll finish in a few minutes then. Hare Krishna.
Govinda Tamaham Bhajami. Jasomati Nandana Brajabara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Khana Dana Brajabara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Khana Jasomati Nandana Brajabara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Khana Gokula Ranjana Khana Gopi Parana Jana Madana Manohara Madana Manohara Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Kaliyadamana Vidhana Kaliyadamana Vidhana Amala Harina Amiya Bilasa Amala Harina Amiya Bilasa Bipina Purandara Navina Nagarabara Vamshi Vadanna Suvasa Vipina Puranda Navina Nagarabara Vamshi Vadanna Suvasa Bhajajana Palana Surakula Nasana Bhajajana Palana Surakula Nasana Nanda Godana Rakhuala Govinda Madhava Navanika Taskara Govinda Madhava Navanika Taskara Sundarananda Gopala Oh Sundarananda Gopala Jamuna Tatachara Gopi Vashanahara Rasarasita Kripamoya Jamuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanahara Rasarasita Kripamaya Sri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Nathabara Sri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Nathabara Bhakti Vinodasaya Bhakti Vinodasaya Yasomati Nandana Brajabaranadara Gokula Ranjana Ana Gokula Ranjana Ana Amala Harina Mami Abhilasa Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Sri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Dattabara Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Nityalila Pravishnu Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivajaka Ashtotar Sadasi Siman, His Divine Grace, Oboi Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki, Nityalila Pravishnu Vishnupad Paramhamsa Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Prabhupada Ki, Anand Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki, Namacharya Srila Thakur Haridas Ki, Shad Goswami Prabhus Ki, Prem Se Gosri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Radha Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki, Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki, Sri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki, Sri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki, Ganga Devi Jamuna Mai Ki, Bhakti Devi Tulsi Maharani Ki, Nama Sankirtana Ki, Harinam Mahamantra Ki, Brihat Mridanga Seva Ki, Parama Karuna Sri Sri Gaur Nityananda Ki, Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ki, Sri Sri Radha Nila Madhava Ki, Sri Sri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ji Ki, Sambhida Bhakta Vrinda Ki. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. So we were discussing You cannot expect everyone to understand what is religion and what is not religion. What is the truth, what is not the truth. What is real, what is false. So what's the position of a person who can't make such distinctions? What does that mean, distinctions? What? Distinctions, yeah, what does it mean? They can't figure out what is real, what is not real. What is the truth, what is not the truth. What is religion, what is not religion. They can't understand the differences. Usually they end up thinking that irreligion is religion, that falsity is the truth, that illusion is reality. Just the opposite, right? Just like your friend is thinking smoking the vap is good for her. It's actually bad, but she thinks it's good. So it's ignorance. Okay, so Prabhupada explains here that most people cannot figure out what is dharma and what is adharma. What does dharma mean? Yes. Duty, yes. Your duty toward God, not just duty. Your duty toward God, right? What is our duty toward God? Yes, serving, because we're part and parcel of God. So then, and adharma means? You're not doing your duty toward God. You're serving yourself, or you're serving mundane people, but not, just ignoring God. So, therefore, an animal cannot make distinctions, what is right and what is wrong. It's not possible for the animal. Okay? Therefore it says, Dharmena hina pasubi samana. One who is ignorant of dharma and adharma, he's no better than a pasu. Pasu means an animal. Ahara nidrabhaya maitunam cha samanyam etat pasubihi naranam. This is a quote from the Hitopadesha. Have you ever heard of the book, the Hitopadesha? Have you ever heard of the book, the Panchatantra? Right. Hitopadesha is very similar to the Panchatantra. It is a book of fables. What is a fable? F-A-B-L-E, yes.
It's like a fake.
Can you speak into the microphone?
It's like a myth. It's fake. It's like a fake story.
No, it's not true.
Fable. It's a story?
It's a story, yeah. It's a story using animals, but the story of the animals portrays the human condition.
Oh, so the fables tell about animals acting like humans?
No, they're exemplifying human behaviors.
Oh, yeah, right.
Right.
I've heard.
Okay. So, this verse says, ahara means, what do animals do? Now, we're going to differentiate now between an animal and a human being. All right? This is very important. The first thing the animals do is ahara, they eat. And then nidra, they sleep. Ahara nidra bhaya, they're always fearful. And maitunam, they reproduce. Do you know any people that only do these four things? Yes. Yes, Harush? No. They only do these things. Only do. You don't know anyone like this? That only does these four things? Eat, sleep. No, eat, sleep, always fearful and worried, and in anxiety, and reproduce. That's basically everyone, right? So, is there a difference then between these human beings who only eat, sleep, fear, or are in anxiety, and reproduce, and animals? Because that's what the animals do. They eat, they sleep, they're always fearful, and they reproduce. Is there any difference? No. What is it that human beings do that the animals don't do? Yes.
Human beings know what's right and what's wrong.
Not
And
necessarily.
They can serve Krishna.
Yes, they understand. They can understand their relationship with God. They can understand their constitutional position, which we already discussed, in relationship to Krishna. That's what a human being can do, that an animal cannot do. Like, for example, if we let a dog come into the temple, right? And the dog has to pee or pass stool, would he do it? Would the dog do it?
Yeah.
Yes. How about the cow? Would the cow do it?
No.
Huh?
Maybe. Yeah.
No, the cow would do it too. How about the monkey? Would the monkey do it?
Yeah.
How about the bird? Would the bird do it? Yeah, they're animals, right? Okay, so therefore, the difference between an animal and a human being is that the human being can understand its constitutional position in relationship to Krishna. It's possible. Any human being, they can be born in a poor family, they can be born in a rich family, they can be born in a Brahmana family, or they could be born in a Sudra, or even a Chandala family. Still, it's possible for the human being to be trained, right? So the difference is Dharmena Hina Pasabi Saman. If we don't take education and enlightenment, how to become religious, then we will not be able to distinguish between what is right and wrong. Okay, let's pay attention, right? If we do not take the time to be educated about religion, then we'll never understand what is right and wrong. We'll be like this girl, the acquaintance of Shrivani, who thinks it's actually good to smoke a vaporizer, and fill her lungs with toxic things. Or someone might think it's good to smoke marijuana. Or someone might think it's good to eat meat. Or someone might think it's good to do this or that, all kinds of nonsense things. Right? So therefore, unless one is educated and enlightened by spirituality, they'll never know what is right and wrong. Then they end up living like an animal. Eat, sleep, always be worried and anxious, and reproduce. Making more animals that eat, sleep, always worried, and reproduce. Okay? So, Prabhupada says, this is the position today of society. The people, meaning young kids and elders also, are not educated to distinguish or to become pious. They're not educated. At the present moment, education means you learn technology and learn how to earn money. And then after earning money, you spend it for sense gratification, eating meat, drinking wine, and so forth, just enjoying sense gratification. This is what education is today. This is modern civilization. So therefore, it is a civilization of pasu. Pasu means animals. Animal civilization. Polished animals, because the other animals, they have, some furry hair, and they don't have diapers or anything like that. They just poop anywhere they go and pee anywhere they go, right? But the polished animals, they have nice suits and ties and nice dresses and high heels and jewelry, and they have underwear, and they poop in the bathroom, but basically they poop from their mouth because they talk nonsense all day long. See? So, what kind of training is this? Namochayet ya samupeta mrityam. It's the duty of the father or mother or the guru how to save the dependent from the clutches of death. This is their duty. And the government also has this duty. Because death is sure. As soon as we get this material body, death is sure. But they're not teaching the difference. They're not teaching anything about the soul and its relationship to Krishna. The constitutional position of a living entity in relationship to Krishna. They're not teaching that. They're teaching kids technology. They're teaching kids how to earn money. And then they teach kids that when you earn money, then you spend it for sense gratification. Eating meat, drinking wine, etc. And so forth. So, therefore, there's a verse that says, Guru nasyat swajana nasasyat, pita nasasyat, janani nasasyat, daivim na tatsyan napatis chasasyan namoched yasamapeta mrityam. One who cannot deliver his dependents, meaning children or the citizens of the state, etc., from the path of repeated birth and death, should never become a spiritual master, a father or mother, a husband, a wife, or a worshipable demigod. In other words, you don't have the right to become a parent if you cannot teach your kids to become free from the cycle of birth and death. You don't have a right to be a guru if you don't teach your disciples how to become free from the cycle of birth and death. You have no right to be a politician or a leader of society if you can't teach the people their constitutional position in relationship to Krishna. You have no right. It's actually a type of molestation. It's a type of violence if you don't take this responsibility. So, Prabhupada says that there are many spiritual masters, but Rishabhadeva advises that one should not become a spiritual master if he is unable to save his disciple from the path of birth and death. Unless one is a pure devotee of Krishna, he cannot save himself from the path of repeated birth and death. Tyakvadeham punarjanma naiti mameti sarjanam. One cannot stop birth and death only by returning. One can stop birth and death only by returning home back to Godhead. However, who can go back to Godhead unless he understands the Supreme Lord in truth? Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tattvata. You have to understand the transcendental nature of Krishna's appearance and activities. If you understand that, then you'll go back to Godhead. You'll not take birth again in this world. But where is that education? So, here Prabhupada is saying that this is the position of people in the present. No real education is being given in the schools. The politicians or the leaders of society are not really educating the people. You know, they're saying, make America great again. But what do they mean by making America great again? More meat, more wine, more sense gratification, more money. That's what they mean by great. Is that actually great? No. That means there's more cancer, more alcoholism and toxicity due to intoxicants. And more sense gratification means more wearing out the body and wasting the human form of life and getting dumber, you know, and so forth. So they're actually leading people in the wrong direction, and they're making people into animals, whereas they should not be animals. They should be distinct from animals by cultivating knowledge of their constitutional position in relationship to Krishna. Okay, so homework for tomorrow. Explain what the duty is of a living entity. Explain what the duty is of, in other words, what is the dharma of a living entity. And explain what, in other words, you're going to explain the difference between dharma and adharma with examples. What the duty is of a living entity. You're a living entity, I'm a living entity. What is our real duty in life? Well, whatever you want to write, you write. And then in that process, while you're writing, explain the difference between dharma and adharma.
Can we put this explains the difference between adharma and dharma in the essay?
Yeah. First, you're going to explain what dharma is, what your duty is toward Krishna. And you can try and maybe quote some verses from Bhagavad Gita that explains what our duty is. Yes. Okay, let's hear it. Take the microphone. So that's good. Arush did homework, Krishna too did homework, and Shivani did homework.
So first you ask them who. So first they say, Darwin's better than Krishna and everything like that, right?
What? Wait a minute! Don't mumble your words.
First they say Darwin's better than Krishna, right? And then
Darwin is better than a better authority.
Yeah. So first, before that, you have to ask them, who do you accept as your authority? So
Why? Why do we say that?
Because a theory, like when you're saying something, it always comes from someone. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but knowledge begins by acceptance of an authority.
So, knowledge begins by accepting an authority. So you first have to ask them, who do you accept as your authority?
Yes.
So they'll say it's Darwin, and then devotees will say it's Krishna. So then since we've accepted two authorities, we have the right to compare both authorities, right?
Yes.
So then you'll say that Darwin, he eats, sleeps, mates, and defends, and he's a normal human being. That means he can get old, he can get sick, and he can die.
That means he can make mistakes. He's easily illusioned.
Yeah.
His senses are imperfect, and he has a cheating propensity.
Yeah. But Krishna, on the other hand, he can never get old, he can never get sick, and he's always eternal.
And he's not subject to
material
illusion.
Yeah, illusion or mistakes.
And the 4 defects.
Yeah, 4 defects. So just by comparing
which authority is better.
Yeah, we can prove to them that Krishna is a better authority.
But there's another principle that we discussed. Krishna's words in the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
This is the oldest book in the world. Why? Why is it the oldest book? There's no other book like this that's 5,000 years old. Why?
You said some persistent.
No, because the knowledge in this book is just as pertinent today as it was 5,000 years ago, and it will be just as pertinent 5,000 years from now. And what example did I give? I mean, every verse is like that, but what example did I give? Which verses are these? No.
2.63 or 2.62.
2.62, 2.63.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now you have another point. You read those verses and you explain them and you ask anybody. I said, can you argue against this? Can you say this is not true?
They'll say no.
No.
Yeah.
That's why this book is 5,000 years old. It's just as pertinent today as it was 5,000 years ago, and it will be just as pertinent 5,000 years from now, because it's the absolute truth.
Yeah, but Darwin's book won't last long.
No, people are going to forget it in another generation. They'll say it was all nonsense. Why did he mislead us?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So you have homework for tomorrow.
Yep.
Haribol.